But in terms of institutional investment, I mean, okay, let's say this is a good first step. What's the next big problem that needs to be solved?
Sure. So, I mean, I think that Bob hinted at it in the segment, which is custody, right? So, I mean, right now we have Goldman rolling out a trading desk that will only be touching derivative products. But longer term, I can imagine that they're going to be embracing trading of the underlying product, right? The physical Bitcoin. And so, you know.
And by the way, I like how this guy is predicting that Bitcoin will hit 50,000 by the end of the year. But let's go ahead and let him continue.
I think a big piece of solving that puzzle is going to be custody.
And who's working on that problem right now?
There's so many companies in the space. Like, really, I think that this became a very well-known problem over the course of 2017, and now there's probably a dozen credible players in the space that are going after it, including companies like Coinbase and BitGo.
So in terms of your forecast for where Bitcoin could go now, Spencer, if things were to remain the same in terms of who's able to invest in Bitcoin, let's say institutions are where they are right now for 2018, where does Bitcoin go? And then if the custody problem is solved, then where do you think Bitcoin goes?
To the moon, baby, to the moon.
Sure. So listen, at Blockchain Capital, we're a venture firm, so we're thinking about longer-term horizons. So if you ask me what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin over any 1, 3, or 5-year span here, what I'm thinking about is one thing. Is there going to be more buyers than sellers? And I think the answer is yes. And we can really easily think about this problem if we think there's two main groups. On one hand, we have hodlers, people who own some Bitcoin. On the other hand, we have people who don't yet own any Bitcoin. And the question is the flow going to be greater from hodlers to non-hodlers or from non-hodlers to hodlers? And my guess is that there's going to be way more people that will be newly buying Bitcoin for the first time. And they're going to be doing that through apps like Robinhood that have rolled out.
I'm glad he brought up Robinhood. If you haven't had a chance, please check out the bottom of the video. There's no fees to trade with Robinhood, which is great.
Crypto trading through apps like Square and through some of the biggest platforms like Coinbase.
All right, Spencer, thanks for your analysis. We appreciate it. Good to see you. Spencer Bogart from Blockchain Capital. Hodler, by the way, hold on for dear life. The people who are just going to hold Bitcoin through thick and thin.
Get your
So he brings up some great points. So his prediction, Bitcoin to 50,000 by the end of the year, is a little bullish. I made the prediction that we would see 20,000 Bitcoin, and maybe now I'm, selling myself short. So we're going to see about that, but his fundamental issue that he was bringing up, so I would agree with him that we will see a $50,000 Bitcoin if we solve the custodian problem. And he just mentioned that some big players are getting involved. One of them is Coinbase. So if that happens and those regulations are basically rolled through and there is companies that are able to set up custodianships, and like I said, this would also lead to an ETF, a cryptocurrency ETF. I would believe him. Like I said, he could be right where we see a 50,000. I'm still gonna say half. I would say maybe 25,000 Bitcoin for this year. But in the future, and his motto of, hey, let's think of it 2-3 years from now, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a $50,000 Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a $4 trillion market cap, which is 10 times what the value is. Well, we're about to hit $500 million, so maybe not, but so maybe even a $5 trillion market cap. But let me know your thoughts on this. I obviously am waiting for even more good news, but I've already started to buy. I was pretty conservative. I did a lot of purchases in April, May, February, and I was basically buying under the 400 billion market cap, and I did make some very large purchases under 300 billion. So I was kind of saying in my videos in the future that, hey, I'm going to just make small purchases once it goes over this 400 billion market cap, because I think there's going to be another correction, blah, blah, blah. Now with this news, and if there's more news that continues to roll out, I mean, I'm obviously not going to put in a large amount of money, but I wouldn't stop buying. So I might even make some purchases at this 500 billion market cap, small ones, but it seems like there's a lot of optimism, and I'm ready to buy, obviously, if it goes back below 300 billion, and that's where I would have most of my orders, but time will tell, and I'm very excited to see what will happen. So let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you guys soon.